Joburg is struggling.
The market is tough. There just isn't as much business. Johannesburg is falling apart. It's a big problem.
They've fallen so far behind. How do you make up 25 years of not looking after things?
Right now, the agents that are functioning the best are the older agents who are open to the youngsters' way.
It's hard graft. It's relentless. You don't often earn for months on end. But the reality is when you do earn, you earn a lot of money.
How would you describe the current state of property market in South Africa right now? Are we growing, adapting, or just surviving?
So I guess it depends which property market you're talking about.
Yeah.
Talking about Gauteng, West
Very
Cape,
different.
Northern Coast, and then what type of property, sectional title, full title. So I think what I'm seeing at least, is Pretoria in Gauteng is flying at the moment. It's attractive for buyers. I think infrastructure is good there. I've made the joke that it's sort of almost the Cape Town of Gauteng at the moment, Pretoria.
Pretoria and Gauteng.
Pretoria is in Gauteng.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I thought you said Pretoria and Gauteng.
No, in
Apology.
Gauteng. Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
I'll speak a bit clearer. Joburg is struggling. I mean, that's the one thing. And I think that's just a pricing thing at the moment, from what I can see. At least.
But then there is those new developments in Bryanston with the 6 to 11 mil homes that are flying.
Yeah.
We sold out 8 in 2 months for Guevara. And then now we just launched Baker and same thing. So there's like a certain kind of market. Investors is a no-go.
Yeah.
The investment units, sectional title are standing still. But the people who want to live in Joburg, who need to work there, want to be there, have got the money and they're willing to pay it for the nice
and
property.
entrepreneurs and business owners that are moving to the economic hub as well.
Exactly.
That's also quite a big thing. You got this whole story about reverse immigration from Cape Town, and I don't necessarily think it's that. It's maybe there's still a net positive impact or inflow of people to Cape Town, but there certainly are people leaving because of cost of housing.
Absolutely.
And maybe more than that, just opportunities, employment opportunities, which obviously are way more in Gauteng at the moment.
Well, at the moment still, I think that'll slowly change, Cape Town. But definitely, yes, it is definitely still where the jobs are. And there's just so much more work there. But the lifestyle, I can tell you, since I moved here last year, definitely is much cheaper there.
Yeah.
The home you can afford and the space you get for the same price, you can't even compare it. It's worlds apart.
Yeah.
So you need to really want to stay here to do the sacrifice of adapting your lifestyle to what you can afford this side. And I was fortunate to partner with you and have this opportunity. If I didn't, I would probably have gone back.
Yeah.
It's tough. The market is tough. There just isn't as much business. The people are busy with their own things. So it's quite something to adapt to.
So the question whether the property market's adapting or growing certainly is growing in certain pockets. It's people are definitely adapting their budgets, their lifestyles to getting on the ladder, and that sort of interest is moving away from the investor market in Joburg to maybe the investor market in PE, the investor market in the North Coast, which is flying at the moment. So I think it's just supply and demand is sort of driving that thinking. And the unfortunate thing is for most South Africans to get onto the property ladder is their credit records, and the affordability is a massive issue.
Especially after COVID. People
aren't taught to take care of it. And definitely lockdown and COVID had a massive impact. So I think we're still seeing significant impact of that, and will be for the next sort of 5 years or so, at least until we really see an uptick. Although Gauteng is being touted as the next hotspot for property, but I think that really comes down to people buying at a discount. Prices are what they were 10, 12 years ago. I think I heard a stat saying it's negative 19% growth.
Yeah.
If you take inflation into account. I mean, it's crazy. It's shocking. But people need to realize if you live in Gauteng, you want to sell, you have to take that knock and then move on from there. So so adapt is what we always do as South Africans. I think that adapt is the best
That
answer
is one thing that we are definitely good at doing. Yes, we did veer a little bit off the actual question, but I'll just throw in my last comment is that in the northern suburbs of Cape Town, we just sold 230 units in 7 months. So the investor market in Cape Town is alive.
Yeah,
that is where you want to invest your money.
We went to the Adam Windy sort of dinner the other night, and just everything the government here are talking about is just insane. So also, although Cape Town property market has been hot for the last 10 years, if they get everything right, even they get half of what they're talking about right, I mean, this market it's just going to be hot for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
50,
They were
20
talking
years.
about it becoming a super city.
Yeah. No, it's, and then this regional airport that's coming in.
I know.
The plans there from Growth Point, who are amazing.
That was
sort of
approved.
landlords and owners. It's been approved, but what their plan around that is just next level insane. So Cape Town's an exciting space to be for us, at least.
Yeah.
Gauteng is definitely growing and adapting, and it's still the economic hub for now. Adaptation.
You mentioned lifestyle, Nadine, but in lifestyle development and investment, what do you think makes such a Cape Town, the Western Cape, such a magnet for property growth at the moment?
I think number one is the infrastructure. You can't compare it. Literally, unfortunately, Johannesburg is falling apart. It's a big problem. And that together with vagrants and people who are desperate is increasing the crime. So it really is a bit of a lose-lose recipe there at the moment. So that's a big part of why we came. The crime and the infrastructure it was really concerning.
Yeah, I mean, you've got crumbling infrastructure in Joburg and most cities around the country. So, I mean, you go to PE, you go to even Durban and KwaZulu-Natal, you've got failing infrastructure everywhere. Joburg, in the last year or two, is seeming like they're doing a lot of work to make it better. So it is. But they've fallen so far behind. How do you make up 25 years of not looking after things? So there is going to be that lag if Joburg continues. But then all the political issues there, the sort of issues around who's the mayor, who's not the mayor, those things, they started getting momentum and then they stop again because there's a fight and they stop. So whereas there's a real stability, I think that the big thing around Western Cape is the stability of the DA.
Yeah.
They've been in power for a while. They are doing good things. People can see good things happening. And it becomes less political and more about performance, which is what everywhere should be. Everything should be about merits, not political alignment or anything else. I think that's the big problem in those regions. Crime is certainly increasing in the Western Cape. We're definitely seeing that in certain areas. But that by nature happens with population and people moving here. So we'll go through a growth sort of learning curve in the Western Cape, but employment opportunities by the government creating here, international links, so aligning themselves with other countries for international opportunities, outsourced business opportunities. The Western Cape government are just doing so many things to empower their citizens, and people can see that. And for all the nonsense and the bullshit that the politicians speak, when it comes down to what actually is happening on the ground, and you can't hide that.
Yeah.
You can't hide what's happening.
You can see it.
And it's not perfect. I'm not going to pretend that the DA is doing the perfect job. Yeah, there's lots of issues, definitely. But it's with all the issues, even the worst issues here are better than anywhere else
in the country. Yeah, it strides ahead for sure.
So yes, the one issue is property prices, and that's sort of the notorious thing: housing and homes and the ability to buy land here. But then you've got the ocean on the front, and you've got the mountain range on the other side. There's limited supply. The governments are doing everything they can to bring more supply to the market, but it's just one of the nature of being so damn popular. So the only answer is cock it up, and then people will stop coming here and prices might stop for a bit. But they're doing a pretty good job at the moment. So yeah.
Airbnb and short-term rentals, in your opinion, is it destroying neighborhoods and pricing out locals, or building new opportunities for property owners?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's building new opportunities for property owners. You might have a very different view, but maybe it's because I'm really speaking from a real estate and investor position. So for me, I'm loving the fact that it's flying. But yes, I guess it does make it quite expensive then for the normal people from Cape Town to be able to afford to rent normal units. It's also taking over the limited availability, as you already pointed out. But for me as an investor, I'm loving it. I think it's all positive.
So I agree. The Airbnb impact on cities around the world, and definitely, for example, in Barcelona, they're banning Airbnb entirely. There are places where you can't do shorter leases than 3 months. I think we were looking the other day for one of the regions. I think it was in Dubai. You can't do less than 7 days short term. So there's all these regulations all over the world. I think what I appreciate about South Africa, we are growing in a sort of emerging markets. So we've got to test these things, and we can't. my biggest fear around Airbnb is actually the over-regulation of it by the government.
Yeah.
There certainly needs to be regulation, but not the over-regulation, which then kills the market and brings such economic benefit. I think, the owner that complains about Airbnb, in the one instance, on the one hand, security and all these strange faces, whatever else, is the very next owner that when he moves to his next place wants to Airbnb's place because they're going to make profit. Or when he sells, he gets such a premium for his property because it's Airbnb friendly that he then loves Airbnb. So it's a very much, you sit on one side of the road or the other, depending on your situation. I think the value it adds to properties, the economic opportunities, creating jobs in a society that's got a huge unemployment rate, is creating opportunities for people to be hosts and gig economy and make money in properties where levies and rates and taxes are going through the roof. They've got to make money somehow. And what's better than giving people opportunities to make money and pay for their properties and look after themselves and feed their families than regulate it and stop it because, I feel unsafe. Put a gate, put access control, put other rules in place.
Yeah.
Don't stop it because you have this imaginary thing of people coming in and doing something when most people, 99% of people are coming in for a holiday.
I completely agree with you. I love the way that it's opening doors for so many jobs. I've heard so many stories of just really amazing initiatives where groups of women are being hired as the cleaners and the hosts and stuff like that were really needed an opportunity. So yeah, loving that side of it as well. And also it just opens the doors for international people to have more than enough opportunity to book a place and come and visit, What do you think will happen to hotels?
There's always a market for hotels. I mean, the international people can afford their hotels, everything else. I think what it does, Airbnb largely definitely opens the doors for younger travelers. So your digital nomads who want to come and live in Cape Town and short-term rent and everything else. So that brings money to the economy and brings young people to experience our country. Wealthier foreigners are more likely to stay in hotels. And corporates, very much. So I think hotels will always have their place, 100%. We stay in hotels when we go to Joburg instead of Airbnb. So it's one of the things. But I think hotels will always have their place. But what it does is distributes the wealth around tourism and short-term letting, because tourism is such a big economy on its own. And again, if you only have the Marriotts and all the big hotel groups owning that accommodation space, where does the money go? It goes into shareholders of Marriott and everything else, instead of to people who own properties in the areas who are taking risk and taking liability for properties in those spaces. And now you want to limit their opportunity to earn against them. I think it's craziness anyway.
Yeah.
No.
So we're for it.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're seeing more and more micro apartments and compact living concepts in Cape Town and Stellenbosch. Is that innovation or just a response to affordability pressure?
Both. It's innovation because you're taking examples of what happens in China, in Beijing, in New York, less so in London. I think in Dubai airport, there's these micro living hotels or micro hotels, which are the size of a coffin, basically. So you both that's hyper innovation in the hotel space. But in micro living, I think it's innovation around understanding that in regions where lifestyle is outdoors, Atlantic seaboard, Stellenbosch, those places, you don't necessarily need a big home with big living space and everything else. You can have a place to make a meal and sleep, and you're going to spend your time outside. I mean, I think New York's the big innovator around that micro living space, and they go tiny, 9 square meters, which is smaller than this room, but it's literally bed, basin, toilet, and get out. And in some of the units, there's not even kitchens in New York because they all eat street food, just eat on the
really not even the communal kitchen setup.
Not even a kitchen. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's maybe that's over innovation in the world, but also a response to affordability. You've got the cost of building has gone through the roof. New builds are so expensive. The affordability from the banks is super restricting, and the price of properties in Cape Town certainly is through the roof. So to get people on the property ladder, to allow them to have a space that they own, it's a combination of reaction to affordability, densification, and
Don't you
innovation.
think it's also the fact that the kids nowadays, first of all, I'm finding very few people are very keen to get married and settle down forever. They are pretty much all single people working hard, doing their thing, working hard. And that as well, the job's changing so much. Will people still be earning the salaries we used to earn when we started? What are the normal jobs going to be? How will that look? the nomads, yes, it's amazing they can work from home, but the work is on and off. So I don't know, I feel like everything's changing so much that number one, that I know for a fact a lot of the younger staff I've employed don't want to own property. They're like, I don't want to own property. I just want to be able to move around. I don't want to be bogged down by that responsibility. Why should I want to do that? Then I must pay rates. I'd rather pay the rent, especially in Cape Town. The rental is still lower than the investment, so then the bond. So in Joburg, you can get away with buying something, but they don't like the responsibility of it. They don't like the commitment and the responsibility.
But we're not seeing micro units in Joburg, which speaks to that sort of space. They can buy in Joburg and live in the space, but in Cape Town, definitely around affordability as well. And I agree with you, like that, especially the Gen Zs, I think they're called. The Gen Zs do like moving around. Yeah. And then there's a stat now in the last week that millennials are the biggest home buyers at the moment, or property buyers. And it's like almost like a no shit stat. It's like no shit. It's like, of course, they're all in there between 35 and 45. They're having kids. No shit, they want to buy homes. So it's like this groundbreaking stat that millennials are making buy. Like, no, fucking obvious. I mean, but anyway, yeah. So it's definitely the Gen Zs, and I think the one interesting thing is people that are in their 20s are earning so much more money these days than in our years. Because we were students, and then you had to follow your salary job, and then
prove yourself, and
earn $4,000 a month or whatever. Yeah. It was really dumb. But now these kids are coming out of school and making $1,000. Like
you've got 7-year-olds. Yeah. Doing TV games, earning more than you and me.
So it's absolutely, it's an insane economy, an insane world. But so again, go back to microeconomy, micro units, innovation, affordability, densification, and just ultimately demand. People wouldn't buy them if there wasn't demand.
For someone entering property as an agent today, what is a mindset that they need to have? Patience, strategy, boldness.
I think a lot of the youngsters do lack work ethic. I'm finding that the biggest problem. So you do still find them, and that really is what I'm looking out for, because I'm finding that is a big problem. It is definitely hard work. You need to be able to discipline yourself in getting up in the morning, getting everything done you need to be doing, making those calls even if you don't want to. You also need to be agile, because it just changes so often, and you need to keep learning and adapting to people, I guess. But I think the new agents, the ones that make it realize the importance of a mentor still, so they actually understand the benefit of the older agents and their work ethic, and learning from them and the way they used to do it. And the ones that don't, the ones that look down on them and find them frustrating, I think that's a pity, because I actually believe right now the agents that are functioning the best are the older agents who are open to the youngsters' way and are really asking for help. So open to learning, asking for help, working together as a team. So important. Like, just being open to learning, being humble about what it is that you're good at and what you still need to get better at, and then working as a team together. So the best mix really at the moment, because of things changing so vastly, would be for me a youngster partnering with one of the older agents to learn from all of that experience and the knowledge built over years, but then also being able to tap into the socials and the digitals and everything else that they need to be doing. So having work ethic and being open to learning and having a positive spirit. Yeah,
I think the approach of any agent into the market is that this is a career. And I think that's also the thing. Yeah. It's outside of the work ethic and everything else, you've got to build trust with people. And the minute you don't see it as a career, you're not building trust. If you see it as a hustle, you're trying to sort of wangle a deal here, make a deal there. You're not keeping to your appointments, and you're sort of playing people off against each other. You're withholding information. The minute you're trying to play a game in property, you lose that trust and you lose the sense of integrity. And that's the problem with the market, is that agents are commission chasing all the time. And when they commission chase, they make really bad decisions in terms of information they share, things they say, showing up, being present. There's lots of decisions that come around that are an issue. You've got to come into the market if you're an estate agent, you're a professional estate agent. And I think when somebody asks, what do you do for a living? And you can answer, I'm an estate agent, and you're confident in that, then you know you're there.
Yeah.
So many people that I meet and so many agents I meet, you ask them what they do, they sort of walk around this subject, and it's almost like they feel bad about being it. And those are the guys that aren't taking it seriously. More so today than ever, being a estate agent is a career. It's hard graft. It's relentless. You don't often earn for months on end. But the reality is when you do earn, you earn a lot of money. And that's the thing. And that's the opportunity in the mix. And then
consistency.
Yeah, and then it's about getting the consistency and the cadence of getting deal after deal after deal. It takes a while, so patience is vitally important, understanding that thing. But then once you start doing deals, and then it's running and running at a rhythm, and not living the highs and the lows, do a deal, go overseas, come back, no money, can't pay rents, chase a deal, make money, go overseas. That doesn't work. And I think that's the estate agent of old. The estate agent of new needs to work. It's not even 8 to 5, it's 8 to 10, Monday to Sunday. That's what you do. That's who you are. And the opportunity for youngsters, we've got guys that are in their 20s here making 3-4 million rand a year. It's real money. It's proper money.
Yeah.
But you've got to take that seriously. You don't get CEOs that can pay that sort of amount of money sometimes in some businesses, and they're working relentless hours. And there's young estate agents coming to the market and think, oh, I'm just going to work a Monday morning and going to make these millions.
Yeah, 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
And then they get upset with us that they're not rolling in the dough. But yeah, we were actually just discussing that yesterday. It makes all of the difference if people just commit to doing that. I think a big part of people not being so proud of wearing the estate agent badge is really just the caliber. I've been warned against that word. But the kind of person that becomes, maybe the fact that they aren't the rules and regulations around becoming an estate agent. Remember, we were just comparing it to the insurance industry.
Yeah, the barriers to entry is so freaking low.
Barriers to entry.
This
is why it's helpful being with an English person. I'm of course I can't always get the exact words out.
Really what I was saying yesterday is like you trip over a failing career in something else and you fall into a estate agency, and then that's your estate agent now suddenly. And I was actually thinking about this morning, why don't people trust estate agents? Because your uncle who used to work in the bank for years, he's now retired, and he's like, oh, well, fuck all to do. And I went, I'm an estate agent, I know everything about property. You're like, how did he become an estate agent? And one of the biggest brands in the country, like, Jesus, I know a woman fucking has brandy on the weekend, doesn't give a shit about anything, and now suddenly he's a property expert. And that's unfortunately the problem in our industry, is that you literally, or you're so shit at your job in any other industry, you think, I'll just become an estate agent.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of reasons, but on the flip side, and it's an unfair sort of brush to paint the entire industry with, because there are some genuine, really good,
phenomenal,
amazing experts in the property market that you just can trust. But it's diluted by these freaking idiots that come in and just think that they're going to do everything.
But I put that down to the PRA.
Yeah.
There should be more barriers to entry than the professional people like you and I who have slaved, and I am a professional and very qualified to be able to assist developers and developments, agents, you name it. Yeah. We won't not feel embarrassed, but not be as proud of our industry, because what it does a little bit of more on the flip side, on the positive of this industry, is what it gives you. Yes, it's a 24/7, 7-day-a-week, 100%. However, it gives you the flexibility of watching your kid playing all the games, being able to take it to the dentist, fetching with receipts. It gives you the flexibility of being able to be available to show up in your life for the things that are important to you. Yes, probably on your phone on the side, but you get the flexibility and you're able to build your life, your job around your lifestyle. So lots of pluses, lots of negatives, lots to think about.
How is technology changing the real estate game in South Africa?
So I'll start off saying that the one thing that I do know is Grant has been very impressive in the way he's just taken on AI. Every day when I come, he's seen a different program. He's like, wait, look, I wrote this code and did all these things. I'm like, but what were your qualifications again? But it's super impressive the way that the programs you've been the programs you've been able to write, the spreadsheets you've done, the websites you've built, like literally by a click of a button, it makes me feel stupid. But it's literally just playing around with all the new things that keep coming up daily. It's amazing. I don't know how to keep up with it all, but you're doing a much better job than me.
Yeah. I think first playing and being curious all the time. So like I'm permanently curious about all these things and understanding what's difference going to make. Maybe not an absolute expert, but just having that baseline knowledge of what's happening with the market, where it's going, or what the opportunity is, and not just talking shit. And I'll go back right to COVID. In COVID, we're all sitting in our bedrooms working and onlining and whatever else. If we weren't essential workers or pretending to be essential workers and driving around, but and in the estate agency market, there was this big movement towards 3D viewings. Like you could go and walk through whatever else.
Yes.
And then everybody invested in those cameras and I was looking, I was like, my first question is, am I going to buy a property off of a camera view? Like, does not excite me. I want to walk in, I want to feel the room, I want to feel the energy, I want to feel the wind blowing through that door, feel the neighborhood. I'm not fucking going to buy a property on a camera walkthrough. And that was every CEO's on the coming on podcast. Oh, the world's moving, the offices are dead. Oh, fuck, that was a mistake. And everyone's going to buy it through 3D camera walkthroughs. Show me a fucking 3D camera walkthrough now. Show me one.
Yeah.
What, 5 years later? That's not innovation. That's bullshit. And that's bullshit.
The only time we are using them is from property that hasn't been built yet.
Yeah, exactly. But it's bullshit in the market to make a story for yourself that sounds great. And that's where we're sitting with AI at the moment. Is everybody's going, well, AI is going to change the world. It absolutely is. But how we see that work, I don't think we know yet. And the only way you're going to know definitively is by playing and innovating and putting things in place, and they get taken out. So again, you've got to be curious, you've got to be interested, and that's the tools we're playing. We're playing with AI agents and AI code builders and web builders and funnel builders and AI bots and WhatsApp bots and playing
I think
with all
it's
these
just so
things to make it
important
interesting.
to not be scared of those things.
Yeah, 100%.
And as you say, just play with it, just let it go.
Yeah.
It's, if anything, use it to advantage. It's going to make things so much easier for you. Find a way, just give it the right instructions. I'm probably still on the scared side, not scared, but I'm still learning my way around it. But it's if I see the things you've been able to get from honestly, like one instruction, it's amazing. Like I definitely want to get more into it.
Where it's not at is using AI to write descriptions. Everyone can see ChatGPT. Everyone can see a ChatGPT prompt.
Yes,
15
you're
times.
right.
It's been 6 months. I can see a ChatGPT prompt. Fuck.
You say it more like me.
Say it more like me. Okay. Just exclude the long dashes and the big spaces and the specific wording and how you put the. I mean, everyone can see a ChatGPT prompt from a mile away or a ChatGPT answer from a mile away. That's not where the world's going. That's not where AI. So ChatGPT is going to remove the relative expertise in the normal resale of properties. And what agents are going to have to do going forward is become experts in a segment. And this is why I'm so excited about our business is we're focusing on luxury. We're focusing on developments. We're focusing on short-term and investment property market. That's where expertise is going to become key and core. And it's going to be in years to come. I'm not talking next year. I'm talking in years to come. The buy and sell of my home in Sunningdale, in Bryanston, in Ballito, is going to become less valuable, and the commission structures are going to get under massive pressure because we can't justify this relative expertise. I mean, that's where agents need to start specializing now in segments. It's going to be painful, it's going to be slow, but it's going to come. Where the experts and the guys who specialize are going to make money, the other guys aren't going to. And if you look online now, you can find 17 different websites that sell without agents. Private Property, Prop 24, Private Property, that's where they came from. Prop 24 offer it now. Is let the homeowners sell themselves. So with ChatGPT, and then I've got the marketing tool. What else do I need an agent for? To open a door? What's that cost? To negotiate an OSP, what's that cost? We've got to start understanding that estate agent value is under massive pressure because of the previous question. The barriers of entry are low. So now it's that's the issue we have going forward. How they can implement AI in the business, that's our job to take tools and roll them out for the guys, because we can't expect them to walk a road.
Yeah. Well, you're a great example of that. Thanks, boss.
For the average South African who doesn't come from money, what's the smartest way to use property as a tool for financial freedom, and not just a roof over your head?
Financial freedom through property is a crock of shit from some web-based guys that sell courses.
Gotta love this guy.
So no, but it's a crock of shit. You can make money in property over time, and you make money in property in 20 years. You buy a property with a mortgage, you pay it off. or your tenant pays it off. And in 20 years, you have an asset that's fully paid off, and it's increased in value, hopefully, if you're not in Joburg.
Yes, exactly.
And then you've got some money. You can sell that and you get the capital. So don't leave your day job to do property purely because you're not going to have financial freedom. And it's a long-term thing. So being in property is and will always be long-term. And rich people always say rich dad poor dad. Look what rich dad poor dad, and he bought apartments and he made money. No, he fucking didn't. He sold books and games where he made money, and then he bought property. And that's how. And by the way, if you go on to and follow Robert Kiyosaki now, what does he do? He sells courses. So he sells games, books, courses. Where's this magical property portfolio making all his money? Why the fuck is he still selling courses, books?
Pause. There's one point in that book which is valid because I'm literally living it. Yeah. Where in Cape Town you can get the lifestyle of a big home that would probably sell for 12 million for a rental of 50. So I would rather do that and not. I can see why. Let me finish. So then what I do is we are then investing in buying studios or one bedrooms around Cape Town, which we're renting out preferably on the Airbnb market. So now our bond is 15, but because of Airbnb, we're able to get 30 monthly. So we can use that 15 and put it back in the bond to pay it off quicker. And as Grant says, it's definitely a long-term game to be into property. So there are little ways where it's not going to bring you financial freedom. And don't quit your day job. But there are definitely ways, especially lately, to make it benefit and to pay that bond off quicker to be able to sell.
So definitely wealth building and definitely rent where you want to live and buy where you want to rent out. Absolutely. So that model is very much, so I'm not knocking the whole rich put out. I'd be a moron to do that. But I think the idea that people sit saying, well, Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump, even all these guys made money. Donald Trump got given his money by his dad. Let's not fuck around. You know? And then he's just lost a lot of money in other businesses, whatever else. He's done special things. So, we need to be careful that we're living in a world where property becomes the wealth builder. Yeah. Owning land's going to make you, no, it's fucking not. It's going to make you very poor. Owning land, you've got to pay services.
Money,
So we've got to just be very, very careful. It's the economic engine that you put on top of that property, Airbnb, a business, all those things that actually generate real cash flow, which then you feed into property and build an asset and build wealth. So wealth builder, absolutely financial freedom in 25 years time.
Yeah.
But the question was how do South Africans get it and every South African get into it? There's this collective buying idea. So go take 10 mates for the first 2 years. All of you take 2,000 Rand each, put it into a bank account. At the end of 2 years, you've got, 480,000 Rand. Is that right? 20 times, 480,000 Rand at the end of 2 years. Go and buy a property cash somewhere in Joburg, in Germiston, in Edenvale, or whatever else. Rent that out, carry on putting the 2,000 Rand each, take the 5,000 Rand you're making out of that 480,000 Rand property, throw it in there, and at the end of those next 2 years, you've suddenly got 550,000 Rand and a fully paid off asset that you can go to the bank and say, okay, now give us a bond, and then buy 2 more. Now you've got 3. There's a way through collective buying to do that. Just be careful.
It's like a stokvel.
It's like a stokvel, but just not as informal sometimes in that structure.
There's also the fractional ownership, easy properties route to go.
There is fractional ownership. I'm not a massive fan of that, but it's
see what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there. Easy properties and fractional ownership is a super interesting model where you can buy from 100 Rand, you can get involved in property and make a return on that. Having professionals invest the money, manage the property, everything else, that's great. If you want direct ownership, so that's the indirect ownership route. If you want direct ownership, I think collective buying.
Yep.
And FNB offered bonds where there's 12 signatories can buy together.
Really?
So
up to 12?
Up to 12 signatories.
Wow.
So and FNB's innovated, ABSA, Nedbank, Standard will all follow, and there'll be these collective buying options going forward. So collective buying is the way to go, realizing that owning your home is an absolute liability. And that's something to remember. It's not only the bond and the interest on the bond, but it's the levies, it's the maintenance, it's the rates and taxes. The cost of all those things come to you, which significantly increases the cost of owning a home. And you're actually never going to get financial freedom or wealth by owning a home.
Yeah.
Because, at the stage when you need to sell that home and it's increasing value, you still need to go and buy another home.
Yeah, you need
which
to live
also
somewhere.
increases in value. So there's no wealth building in owning a home unless you're going to live there until you're 65 and then when you kick the kids out, just sell, then you go and buy a little 2-bedroom flat. Then you got a bit of cash. That's not wealth. That's not financial freedom.
What does Nova mean? Why did you choose Nova?
But Nova.
Supernova. Yeah, it's a renewal, a rebirth, I think is where it came from supernova. I know the supernova is the star dying, but also talks about rebirth and renewal. And I think we built a business in Elite of 5 years, had lots of challenges. It was from scratch in probably one of the most competitive real estate markets in the country. You know, if you just drive down Bloberg Road, there's 500, 600 estate agent individuals. There's every single brand on the street either is here or has been here and has closed down, or is reopening here. So there's just this influx of people because there's such demand in the Western Cape and for this region. And from an affordability point of view, it's expensive, but it's still affordable from Western Cape. So this space is hyper competitive. I feel like we did a phenomenal job in building business over 5 years.
Yeah.
But then with the growth and the speed of growth of DevCom and DevCom Western Cape and the interest and excitement and the energy that was coming there, it didn't make sense to have two teams competing and sort of the friction around.
We weren't
those
competing,
things.
I was running.
Well, she says that, but the real one is winning was me. That's okay.
Yeah, he's
the ultimate winner. But
you
the
did play those cards very well.
Carefully. But the reality is by combining the team, having one singular voice, one singular sort of focus point and one place for everyone to grow and fully interact, I think was just that renewal and rebirth of something pretty spectacular and really cool. And the energy is just next level.
Yeah, we've had so much excitement about it.
So which is great. So yeah. And it's the cool thing is it's just the beginning again.
Yeah.
When you go back, it's just the beginning. 55.5 million rand in sales last month only, and we're still just at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's probably the most exciting thing about Only Realty as a group is that although we've been around for a while, really the current business structure is maybe 5 years old. We're still just at grassroots, you know. We don't.
But
have
is that overnight success 10 years in the making?
10 years in the making, yeah. And we're at grassroots level, and that's so cool. So the green shoots are going to become fucking oak trees pretty quickly.
Yeah. We're going to make damn sure of it.
Yeah. So it's just really cool.
Yeah, super excited.
So Nova and you, basically.